Finally.
Hi Revansh,
Hello, Dr. Jain. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for accepting this request and coming live with me to address such an important topic. We all are
Yeah,
going through a tough time right now, so it's very important for a person like you to come and at least share your expertise and your experience that you've had in the past dealing with COVID patients.
hmm Thank you so much for
So,
having me here.
oh yeah, of course, of course.
Mhm.
And before we start, so I'm going to introduce you. So today we have Dr. Hardik Jain, who is an MD, DNB, MNAMS, and EDAM from Europe. He's a chest physician at Reliance Hospital, and he's also a specialist in asthma, allergies, TB, and COVID-19. And Dr. Jain has also worked for 3 months in an ICU department in the COVID-19 situation, dealing with COVID-19 patients. So again, I thank you for coming here.
Thanks, Revansh.
So Dr. Jain, before we start, I just wanted to ask you how intense is COVID as of today, and what are the cases? The numbers are rising. Are they falling in India? What's up with that?
So, see, first of all, thank you so much for that kind introduction. As far as COVID situation in India is concerned, the numbers, of course, are still rising, but not at such a huge pace as it were earlier, as in
Okay.
April or May. The number of cases, daily cases, are falling, of course,
Okay.
especially in Maharashtra, UP, Rajasthan, all the other states where they were rising at a frantic pace. But
Mhm.
in the southern states, especially Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, still are seeing quite a large number of daily cases, about 20,000, 25,000. So
Oh
those
wow.
states are still at the peak. But otherwise, in the rest of the country, the numbers are certainly coming down. But
Okay. Okay.
then I strongly believe that there is no reason to relax and let your guard down.
Mhm.
Even if the numbers are coming down, everybody is still at risk of getting COVID because the COVID has not gone.
Right.
We
Right.
After
Right.
the first wave we got relaxed and then we had the second wave. Now
Yeah.
if we make the same mistake again, then I don't think there's any point. You know.
Yeah. True. True. I was just going to mention that yeah, it happened the first wave. After that, things started settling down and people started going out as if nothing has happened. And then again, we are in this situation. True.
So it's really
Okay.
not over until it's over.
Yeah. 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 That's very true. That's very true. So coming back to our topic of health, fitness, and COVID-19. So there are a lot of research studies that are being produced right after the COVID pandemic broke out last year,
Mhm.
and a lot of information available online in medical journals and everywhere else. I've come across a few places that have mentioned that people who were deficient in certain vitamins in their body suffered the effects of COVID even more intensely than people who weren't facing those deficiencies. So, how much truth is associated with this?
So see, there are certain vitamins which are important in building the body's immune response, but
Hmm.
it's not specific to COVID. It's just general immunity against any kind
Okay,
of
okay,
infection. So
okay.
say like vitamin D, vitamin C, these vitamins are important in fighting against infections and controlling inflammation.
Hmm.
Vitamin D, for example, the figures were put out by the CDC saying that around 50 to 60% of COVID patients are deficient in vitamin D. So there is
Oh,
certainly some link between vitamin D deficiency and adverse outcomes from COVID. So it does not
okay.
mean that patients with low vitamin D will get COVID or will patients with normal vitamin D won't get COVID. But certainly,
Hmm.
if you have lower levels of vitamin D or vitamin C, then you are at a risk of having a worse outcome. Even
Okay,
in
okay.
thrombotic episodes, as in blood clotting. So
Hmm.
vitamin D, lower levels of vitamin D are associated with clotting episodes, and we know which are clotting episodes are quite common in COVID.
Right, right, right.
Can even lead to heart attacks or brain strokes, or if it's in the gastrointestinal system, it could lead to intestinal gangrene. So
Hmm.
those can can be reduced to a certain extent by making sure that the vitamin levels are at the optimum level. In fact,
Okay.
vitamin C has been used for a long time against in cases with pneumonia.
Right.
It has been used in many infections, but pneumonia has been very prominent. So
Mm-hmm.
we all know COVID is also mainly affecting the lungs only, COVID pneumonia. So vitamin C has been given in very high doses for patients who have severe pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
basically, vitamin D and vitamin C are the most commonly used vitamins against COVID. But
Right.
other vitamins and minerals, especially zinc, also, so they
Mm.
tend to be useful in mounting the body's immune response.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, because I remember last year when the pandemic freshly hit, that time when I used to go to the medical store to buy some normal medicines, all the vitamin C bottles were empty. Like there was no stock left. Everybody's just piling on it.
Yeah,
And little do they
exactly.
understand, I feel that immunity increases when you consume vitamin C over time. It can't really like happen if you overconsume vitamin C. It's water soluble. You'll piss it out. So
Definitely.
yeah. And vitamin D was also one
Mm.
vitamin. There are some study I came across that they said, just like you mentioned, that people suffered more adverse effects of COVID if they were deficient in vitamin D, which is actually common quite a lot in the entire world, as in
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we're getting sedentary.
Especially these days when we are staying at home, not stepping out of the house. So there is
Right.
a very, we are avoiding sunlight totally, and that's when we
Mhm.
have deficient levels of vitamin D.
Okay, that makes sense. And so what we concur from this is that immunity is not going to be built specific to COVID-19. It's just overall general immunity. If
Yeah,
you have your
exactly.
yeah, so if you have your vitamin levels in check, then
Hmm.
at least you will not suffer. You may not suffer the adverse effects of COVID. But COVID, it can go to anybody. Like anybody can catch it.
Yeah, yeah. It does not guarantee a good outcome, but it reduces
Okay,
your risk of having a worse outcome.
okay. Also, so let's see. Yes. So have you seen any relationship between healthy and unhealthy COVID-19 patients and the outcomes of COVID-19 in them, in the sense a higher BMI or being overweight or being obese, something like that?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, if we talk about obesity, then it has been proven beyond doubt that obese individuals are at a much higher risk of having a worse outcome from COVID-19.
Hmm,
Uh,
hmm, hmm.
when I say worse outcome, it means that obese individuals have a risk of getting a more severe illness.
Okay.
COVID patients who are obese have a risk of getting more severe illness and have even a higher risk of dying from COVID as compared to COVID patients who are not obese.
Okay.
So that is very well established now. And in fact, the CDC says that uh, COVID patients who are obese have a 4 times higher risk of getting hospitalized than non-obese
Oh, wow.
patients. Yeah.
That's so
So
obvious. Like 4 times, that's a lot.
yeah, exactly. But the reason behind this is quite obvious. Obesity has always been linked to a impaired immune response, and also
Hmm.
obesity is mainly abdominal obesity. So that
Okay.
pushes up your diaphragm, and it causes a reduction in the lung capacity and the lung reserve.
Okay.
And as we all know, COVID affects the lungs primarily. The main target is the lungs only.
Hmm.
So if you have compromised lungs in the beginning itself because of obesity, then you are
Hmm.
at a risk of having a worse outcome.
Okay.
Also, in obese patients, you need to give a higher dose of the drugs. Whatever
Okay.
medicine we give in COVID, those medicines are given as per the body weight. So patients who have a higher body
Oh,
weight need a higher dose of the drugs, and that puts them at risk of having more side effects of the medicines.
correct.
So there are many different reasons why obese patients have a worse outcome.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I never knew that the medicine is given according to body weight for COVID-19.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And have you seen any relation between like smokers, non-smokers, and alcoholics and COVID-19? There's
Yeah,
there
yeah,
any
of course.
relation that?
Smokers having a poorer outcome in COVID is like a no-brainer because
Hmm.
smoking already makes your lungs compromised, and
Hmm.
when you get COVID pneumonia also in your lungs, so it's like a double whammy. So it's a no-brainer
Uh,
that you will have a worse outcome. Alcohol, not many studies have been able to establish an association, but
okay.
smoking definitely.
Okay. Definitely. All right. So, okay, sorry, just one second. I have my questions in front of me. So, would you recommend everybody to stay fit and active at home? I recommend all my clients and everybody who watches my show and follows on Instagram, no matter what, just keep doing something at home, like resistance training or some cardiovascular training or something like that. So, would you back that up as well? Is that beneficial?
Of course, absolutely. Like this is just like a corollary to the previous questions.
Hmm.
Last question about obesity. So it's like if obesity puts you at risk of having a worse outcome, staying fit makes sure to a certain extent that you have a better outcome of COVID. So
Okay.
if you exercise regularly, your body is fit. It boosts your immunity, and
Hmm.
consequently, if you have a better immunity, you have a better outcome from COVID.
Correct.
Yeah. So any kind of exercise is okay, whether you
Hmm.
do resistance training or whether you do cardio, whatever it is, but you have to do some form of exercise every day.
Hmm. 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 Oh, and one more question that I completely forgot about was I'm sure I've seen that in news as well, and I've read somewhere that people with metabolic disorders like blood pressure and diabetes and that sort have a really harsh outcome of COVID-19. So why is that so? What happens exactly that puts them in worse spot?
Yeah, that is because of the immunity only. People with the
Okay.
diabetes are known to be in an immunocompromised state.
Okay.
So that way, number one, they are not able to mount a very good immune response against COVID itself. And secondly, since
Hmm.
they have a compromised immunity, they are at risk of having super added infections too.
Okay.
So if they have a mild disease, it's not really a problem. But if they have a moderate or severe disease, if they have COVID pneumonia or
Hmm.
COVID affecting their heart or other parts of the body, so then they are at a higher risk of getting super added infections also.
Okay.
So that's why they have a poorer outcome from COVID. People with
Okay.
diabetes, people with cancer, people on long-term immunosuppressive drugs, people with
Hmm.
HIV. So all those
Okay.
patients are at a higher risk of having a worse outcome because their immunity is suppressed.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And so everybody who is viewing this, I had just come across a study like last year, not about COVID-19, but just about being in the obesity phase and losing weight. So when obese patients or obese people lost just 10% of their body weight, that 10% of total body weight, that itself gave them a very high boost of immunity and gave all the metabolic benefits. So it's not just about looking good or just fitting into a certain dress or something like that. But if you just lose the initial 10% of your body weight, that also has significant impact on your immunity. So you can definitely start exercising at home. Do not be lazy. Try to do as much as you can. Be active.
Of course, like the
Yeah.
standard official recommendation is, I think 150 minutes of exercise in a week. So
Yes.
that,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, so that translates to roughly 20 minutes every day, or maybe
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
minutes a day for 5 days a week. So that much
Correct.
is the official recommendation. So I think we all of us must strive to achieve that.
Okay, yeah, that's very true. And also coming to exercising, I got a lot of messages and inboxes when they saw me posting me running with a mask on. So I'm used to running with a mask on. Okay, nothing happens to me. But I got so many threatening like messages that oh your lungs will burst and your lungs will collapse and you'll die. And it's been a year and a half, nothing's happened to me. So
Mhm.
I know that not everybody can adjust to wearing a mask and running. But what is your take on it?
See, it really depends on where you are exercising. If you are exercising at home, then there's no
Hmm.
need to wear a mask. You can
Right.
comfortably do it at home. But if you are going outdoors, maybe in your society compound or outdoor going for a walk, then I think it's necessary you wear a mask because
Okay.
it's not safe without a mask. And
Hmm.
especially if there are other people exercising with you, if you're in a gym or if you're
Hmm.
outdoors by the seaside or somewhere, then there are lots
Hmm.
of people around you. So
Right.
that
Right. Right.
it's not safe to exercise without a mask. It might be a
Hmm.
little uncomfortable. That's why we
Yeah.
recommend a cloth mask to be worn while exercising.
Okay.
The
Okay.
surgical mask, triple layer mask is not very comfortable because when you sweat, it does not absorb the sweat. So the
Right.
sweat
Right. Right.
accumulates over there. So a cloth mask may be preferable, but I would still recommend everyone to exercise in their homes only
Correct.
because That way you can do it without wearing a mask and you'll be more comfortable.
Right, right, right. I'm glad you backed me because I used to go for running at Marine Drive and there were thousands of people already on the streets. So I couldn't have taken any chance. So I used to cover my nose and my mouth with the mask. I was completely fine. But you know how people sometimes wear masks in Mumbai, they wear it here, which is of no use, I think.
I know,
Yeah,
but you have to do it. Like, I mean, there's no point
yeah,
taking a risk with your health.
correct, correct, correct. Absolutely. So you mentioned gyms. A lot of like gym owners, a lot of fitness trainers have a problem with the government shutting down gyms. To some extent, I understand why they've done it, and I understand the situation of gym owners as well because business is zero. Uh, I think 20-30% or even more gyms have shut down completely forever.
Hmm.
So why is it important for gyms to be shut right now? And how can it spread in a gym more than any other place?
See, in as you must be knowing, in gyms there is a lot of close contact between different individuals. You know, you
Correct.
have no idea whether the person standing next to you, working out next to you, he himself has any symptoms, or there one of his family members is symptomatic or positive or what. You can never be
Right.
sure, and it's
Correct.
very difficult to convince people to work out with their masks on.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I've also been to a few gyms, but I haven't seen anyone wearing their mask while working out, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
impossible to convince them. They have their own reasons, and it's valid also. It's actually difficult
Correct.
wearing a mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
So gyms are known to be a very high hotspot of spreading COVID.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
That's why if there's a if there's a wave, first wave or second wave going on, that time it's absolutely essential to shut down the gyms.
Hmm. 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 Okay.
Once the cases start coming down, once the situation is a little better, then we can think of opening them. But right now,
Hmm.
it's absolutely not safe.
Okay. Okay. Very well understood. So yeah, I completely agree with you because when things had started opening up a few months ago, I did go to a gym and they did tell me on the phone that you know everybody wears masks and we do all the temperature checks and everything. So I just went there. Before even entering the gym, I just stepped out because they were not doing any temperature checks, nothing of that sort. People are just walking around without shoes and they're so close contact without masks, and it was just like a normal day. So I decided not to. I have not been to the gym forever now. It's been more than a year, I think.
And I really don't think it's necessary to go to a gym. I mean, yeah, there you can't have all the equipment at home, but even if you
Right.
want to stay reasonably fit and if you want to work out, have a decent workout, you can do it at home. There are a lot of exercises that you can do at home. You don't necessarily need to go there.
I agree with you 100% because I've been using whatever I have at home. So I just ordered a kettlebell. I have a few resistance bands. I have a
Mhm.
suspension trainer, TRX, and a jump rope, and that's actually enough for me to at least get through
More than
this.
enough.
Yeah, yeah. So I agree with you. Um, okay. So, can we go through the vitamins and minerals that you recommended people should try and be consistent with?
See, when I say vitamins and minerals, I mean that you should make sure there is no deficiency of the vitamins
Right, right, right.
during
Exactly.
these times. But I don't really recommend everyone to take supplements because the best way to make sure that you have the vitamins is to take a balanced diet. A
Correct,
healthy and
correct.
balanced diet is the best way to make sure that
Hmm.
you have all the necessary requirements, the optimum level of the vitamins. But
Hmm. Hmm.
if it's not possible to take it in the diet, only then I would recommend taking supplements.
Right.
So supplements, there are lots of supplements, different supplements. Like for vitamin C, you have Limcy tablets, Selin. For vitamin D, you have Uprise D3. You
Hmm.
have, I think, Tio 60,000. You
Okay.
have, there are different brands available, but
Hmm.
of them is fine as long as you're taking it in the necessary required amount. I think it's
Hmm.
okay. Doesn't matter which brand you take. But
Correct.
the standard recommendation is vitamin for supplements, vitamin D3 60,000 units once a week, and
Hmm.
vitamin C 500 mg once daily.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that is
Okay.
the recommendation. But I would still urge everyone to take it through their diet rather than taking it in supplements.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a very good point. People usually tend to shortcuts, and that's human nature. So yeah, so somebody commented, is B12 necessary? It's my friend Arpan.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, all the vitamins together are essential in building an immune response against infections. So
Hmm.
whether it's B12, B6, B1, B2, or it's vitamin C, vitamin D, all of them are equal. All of them are essential, I would say. But
Hmm.
vitamin D and vitamin C are more concerned with immunity more than other
Okay.
vitamins. Of course, vitamin B is also essential. It's
Hmm.
important to to maintain your oxygen levels in the red blood cells. So
Right.
that has other functions, but not so much concerned with immunity.
Okay. Yeah. So I completely. How much is the standard intake for it? Like D is 60,000. How much is B? He's asked.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
He said, how much is the standard intake for B12? Like, is there any specific amount that people recommend for B12 per day?
I think it is 50 micrograms or something. Though I'm not really sure. But
Yeah.
folic acid is 5 milligrams per day, and vitamin
Hmm.
B12 is 50 or 25 micrograms. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. And usually, like on the supplements, it's written already that how much you have to take per day. I think that sorts itself out. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah. So yes. So coming back to our conversation, uh, yeah. With regards to B12, I have an experience. So according to my experience, B12 is a little hard for people who are vegetarians to maintain because
Correct.
it's available in meat sources and animal products. So I used to be deficient in that. But from the day I started having chicken every day, my levels have become completely normal. So I'm not recommending vegetarians to eat non-veg. I'm just saying that if that is the case, then you can go towards supplementation. If not, it's not possible for vegetarians.
That's what I said. As far as possible, you
Yeah,
should try to get it in your diet. But if for some
true.
reason you're not getting it from your diet, then you can have supplements, of course.
Yeah. And so, is there any message that you would like to give to our listeners here?
Uh,
Anything that you want to add?
well, of course, one thing I would like to tell everyone is that the best defense against COVID-19 is your own body, your immunity,
Hmm.
more
Hmm.
than any kind of any medicines, more than any remdesivir or steroids or any plasma or any
Hmm.
antibody cocktail. The thing that will save you from COVID-19 is your own body
Hmm.
and your own immunity. So the effort should be directed towards maintaining your own immunity and maintaining optimum fitness levels rather than taking any medicines to prevent COVID-19. These days, we see a lot of people taking ivermectin and doxycycline and all those medicines just to prevent
Hmm.
COVID-19. If they
Hmm.
even
Hmm.
come in contact with the COVID positive patients, they start all these medicines. So that is really absolutely not recommended because
Okay.
the only thing that will save you from COVID is your own body, not any
Hmm.
medicine. Even
Hmm.
patients who have received all those medicines and who have recovered, they have recovered because their body was able to fight out the infection.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
It only help your body, but it's ultimately your own body which fights the infection.
Hmm.
So that is one thing I want to emphasize, that the goal should be to keep your body fit, whether it is through diet, through exercise, or through any other means. The goal should be
Hmm.
to keep your body fit to fight the COVID infection.
Excellent message.
The
And
other
we
thing,
have one of your patients who has said, I was treated by Dr. Hardik during my battle with COVID. Thank you so much, doctor.
yeah, thank you. Thanks for those words.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to mention is that uh, exercise and diet and fitness will give you a general immunity boost. But if
Hmm.
you specific immunity against COVID, then it's the vaccine. The vaccine that will give you specific immunity against the coronavirus.
Hmm.
So I urge everyone to get vaccinated as soon as possible. Whenever you're eligible for the vaccine, just go ahead and
Hmm.
take it. Don't listen to any of those WhatsApp messages saying that vaccine will decrease your immunity or you cannot take the vaccine if you're having your periods and all those nonsense messages. Just
Hmm.
ignore all those. The vaccine is good for you. The vaccine will give you specific protection against COVID. Just go out and
Hmm.
take it.
Great. And to stay protected from COVID. we have these general guidelines that the government has given that social distancing is important, wearing a mask is important, completely sanitizing or washing your hands frequently is important.
Of
So,
course.
is there any other thing that's left out of these three things that I mentioned?
Yeah, so basically, till recently, it was just these three things: masking,
Hmm.
hand sanitization, and social distancing. And
Hmm.
now, since the vaccines have arrived, we've added this vaccine also to these three things. So these four
Okay.
things are the only thing that can uh, help you protect against COVID-19.
Okay. Great. Great. And Dr. Jain, where can anybody contact you if they want any suggestions or if they want treatment from you?
Sure, if any of your followers or anyone who's having symptoms suggestive of COVID or maybe any other lung disease, I'm basically a
Hmm.
pulmonologist, so I treat
Hmm.
all kinds of lung diseases. So if anyone is having any kind of symptoms, they can contact me through Facebook or Instagram or even through my email ID. I'll just send across my email ID so you can post it there. So
Sure.
I
Sure.
can
Sure.
do through any of those means.
Could you also speak your email ID here in case people are just listening and they want to just note it down?
Sure. So my email ID is Dr. Hardik Jain, DrHardikJain 01 @
Okay, great, great. I'm going to be posting this session on my IGTV. It will also be there on YouTube probably tomorrow and Facebook also probably tomorrow after I edit it properly.
Sure.
Yeah. And I hope you stay. Oh, sorry, before we go, I wanted to ask about your experience dealing with the ICU patients. What was it like for 3 months?
Well, I was at the COVID ICU in Seven Hills Hospital in Andheri here.
Hmm.
So basically, of course, all of us, most of the people already know how hard it is to work in those PPE suits 12 hours a day. We had 12-hour shifts. So
Hmm.
one day we had a day shift, then we had a 24-hour gap, and then we had the night shift. So
Okay.
12 hours working in that PPE was absolutely draining. But
Hmm.
besides the thing that besides the physical discomfort, like we could not eat or drink in those PPE suits, we could not go out to pee and those
Hmm.
things. Uh,
Yeah, you're back now. You're back now. Yeah.
yeah. So besides that physical discomfort, what was more troublesome is the mental agony of seeing those
Hmm.
patients in their last moments alone and missing their families, the families not
Hmm.
being able to talk to their loved ones in their last moments.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that was very distressing.
Hmm.
So that's why we keep telling people to keep wearing their mask, keep sanitizing their hands, keep maintaining
Hmm.
social distance, so that they do not have to go through that same fate that we've seen so many people going. So that was about it. It was a bittersweet experience. There was lots to learn
Hmm.
too. A lot of
Hmm.
patients had a lot of lessons to give, especially in their last moments. But
Hmm.
overall, it was a useful experience, I would say.
Okay, okay. Well, I thank you so much for working on the front line and protecting lives of the people, because it's because of the doctors and policemen and all the people on the front line that everybody is at least safe till this point. I know things are still spreading, but at least cases are dropping now and things are sort of coming back to control.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me here.
So thank you so much, Dr. Jain, and I hope you stay safe. And as I said, I'll post everything on all social media platforms, and I'll forward any contacts to you if they ask me about your contact information.
Sure, sure. And once again, I urge all the viewers who are watching this show to please get vaccinated as soon as you can. And please wear your masks, keep sanitizing your hands, and maintain
Hmm.
social distance as much as possible. That's the only way we can beat this disease. Otherwise, we'll keep getting a third wave and a fourth wave and a fifth wave and God knows how
Hmm.
many.
Correct. Okay. Thank you so much, and you have a great night ahead.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.